For 25 years, Genesis Institute has sought to be a place of healing and restoration for the brokenhearted, a place of refuge in the city, a place of hope and referral for churches in the city. In this year of 2019, we celebrate 25 years of ministry, and we are thankful for the partnerships we enjoy in our community.
I'm grateful for the ministry partnership that Genesis Institute has provided the community of Spokane. One of the things I'm grateful for as a pastor is oftentimes there can be this degree of skepticism that pastors have of outsourcing counseling to others outside the church because there may be this fear of being undermined of what a pastor may be wanting to do or see in the life of this person that we're working with. But I love that Genesis Institute provides a safe place for pastors and churches to refer people to receive biblical and Christian counseling that won't undermine the authority of God's Word.
So again, we're just really grateful for Genesis ministry and input into a lot of our people's lives. I guess in broad general ways I can say that I know a lot of people from our church that have been the victims of all kinds of traumatic things and lived with all kinds of fears and doubts and lies. And the Lord has used Genesis Institute and their counseling ministries to help people overcome them and begin to see, the freedom and the presence and the power that they have because of their relationship with the Lord Jesus Christ.
Genesis began with a simple vision: to help people through counseling, training, mentoring, and relationship. We are grateful for where God has brought us.
When people ask me how Genesis Institute got started, I tell them that God literally birthed it on a paper napkin during a conversation over coffee in an airport, because that's exactly what happened. It was April of 1994. I was visiting with Dave Hutchins, and we were thinking about how are we going to continue the work in Spokane that Dave had previously done with another ministry organization. That was no longer going to be a possibility, so God gave us a vision that day. It was murky, but it really did involve continuing to grow this aspect of ministry, working with families and working with teens. So that's how it started. There were no lightning bolts, there was no direct revelation, but just a really, really strong sense that God wanted to see this work continue to grow and expand.
Through the years, thousands have come through our doors and received the truth, support, and help they needed.
Another ministry of Genesis, which I really appreciated at the time and continue to appreciate, knowing I can go back for counseling. I was experiencing depression, so I called up Genesis, was able to get an appointment with a lady counselor, which I did appreciate also. And she didn't just pat me on the back, say, "Woe is you," pat answers. She directed me to God's Word. And there again, it was my choice to live out that redeeming relationship I had with God through some struggles, through some hard things going on in my life at the time. But I'm so thankful I went to Genesis because it is centered on the Word of God and on our relationship with Him, our Father.
Genesis has always cared deeply about parenting. The Courageous Parenting classes were developed to equip moms and dads to parent adolescents and reach their hearts.
Genesis Institute needs to continue courageous parenting. Because I know that the teenage world today is fractured and what they're facing has some very negative consequences. I continue to support Genesis Institute in many ways because I've seen the impact and influence that it's had in people's lives in the raising of children, moving from what a consumer parent is to what a ministering parent is. I've seen the impact and influence ripple into families whose children are incarcerated in penitentiaries. I've seen growth in my own personal family and my relationship to my son and my daughter as I learned to enter into their story instead of bringing them into my story. Genesis takes the mission of the gospel to people in the form of relationship. They enter into their heart, they win the right to be heard. It becomes a safe place for people to be unsafe and share their life, and their growth that's where growth happens.
We had teenagers when the parenting curriculum was being developed, and so we were involved embracing the concepts of courageous parenting early on. It happened to be at a time when we had all kinds of things going on with our kids and our family, and I really believe that had it not been for what I learned at Courageous Parenting, my wife and I would not be celebrating our 50th wedding anniversary this year, and we would not be in relationship with all of our kids. At different levels, but nonetheless we're in relationship with all of our kids. And I really don't think that would have happened had it not been for the teaching and the mentoring that occurred in those early years of Courageous Parenting.
Genesis Institute has had a deep heart and love for college students. Through its partnership with Moody Bible Institute, Great Northern University, and through individual outreach, Genesis counselors have ministered to hundreds of students. Through its teaching and equipping, Genesis has trained ministers in counseling for the mission field.
When I think about the impact of the Genesis Institute on the collegiate generation, I've had a chance to see it firsthand. I started working at Moody Bible Institute's now closed Spokane campus in 2007 and was engaged. Students came in from all 50 states and throughout the world to be trained and to be equipped with a biblical education. And Genesis Institute provided, for the most part, our counseling for students who needed it. And I can think of multiple lives that were changed through the counselors at Genesis, providing healing and hope, direction, giving them tools that shape their lives. I know for some of the students in particular that they've gone on to be counselors. They're either in counseling programs or they're counseling themselves right now in private practice, working with troubled youth or different types of troubled youth. So I know that God has used the Genesis Institute in setting the trajectory of young people and then ultimately really reproducing that trajectory in other young people who have gone into biblical Christian counseling. And I just love that.
In addition to counseling, Genesis has conducted many types of classes designed to help people grow in Christ. Spiritual formation, the wonder of women, and other classes help people grow deeper in their relationship with Christ.
My involvement has been basically taking a class from Elaine Watts, The Wonder of Women, and that turned my life upside down. I am a cheerleader and a Tigger for Genesis in that anyone that I come into contact with, I speak of all of the resources that are available, but most importantly that it's Jesus' love that has the potential to change everyone and everything if we surrender.
These are just a few highlights of the first 25 years. Imagine the next 25 years. We appreciate the partnership of our friends who have supported this ministry. Thank you for your faithfulness. As we celebrate 25 years, we seek to grow wider and grow deeper in our ministry. As we move forward into the future, we have a vision, we are forming a plan, and we have the burden to see Genesis grow mightily to reach our region and world.